It's Steelers week, so we have a special edition of What the Elf Was That?
You're listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast, an iconoclastic look at the latest Cleveland Browns news. The What the Elf Was That podcast is part of the Fanatical Elves podcast network, a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Here's your host, Joel Cade.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to What the Elf Was That? We're doing a double edition this week. We've talked to you guys already earlier on Tuesday when we had Samuel on, and now because I've been blessed in my life to know a lot of Steelers fans, I'm bringing back, you've heard him before, my former college roommate, Mr. Brad Haskins. Say hi, Brad.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys? Glad to be here.
All right, Brad. So remind our audience of who you are and what you're about.
Played quarterback at Old Olivet Nazarene University with you, and that's where we met. After that, I graduated a local college here and ended up becoming a high school football coach for 20 years. Gave that up a little bit, and now I'm a part-time PE teacher and part-time real estate agent and full-time chaser of my kids and their athletics.
Yeah, I've been there, man, chasing the kids in the athletics. So good for you. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. What do you think about this game? Do you have any thoughts on the upcoming game here between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into Cleveland this time?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, I think this is going to be a bloodbath, and it's going to be no bars. They're going to get after it, and I think it's going to be whoever comes out of the game healthiest. Because I think this is just going to be a major slugfest.
So who do you think, or which team do you think has the better quarterback? The Browns with Dorian Thompson-Robinson or the Steelers with Kenny Pickett? Is Kenny Pickett playing?
Yeah, he's playing.
Okay, so who do you think has the better quarterback going into this game?
I would say, obviously, we would get the nod because we have a little more experience starting behind center, but I'm not convinced that Kenny Pickett's the answer anymore anyway. So, I think we'll have the advantage, but not by a lot.
I'm going to have to agree with you, by the way, just because Dorian Thompson-Robinson's making the second start. And it's going to be his first start that he actually has a game plan written up for him to start. So, Browns fans, in case you've been living under a rock, Deshaun Watson is now out for the season. This was announced, I believe, Tuesday. And he will be having shoulder surgery, and now our season's in the toilet. But if there's anything we should hang our hats on Steelers week, it's the fact that the Steelers have actually drawn the blueprint for how to win games and playoff games and Super Bowls with a rookie quarterback. So, Brad, do you remember those times back with Ben Roethlisberger?
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
Did you follow them when Jerome the Bus Bettis was a part of the team? And
he was actually a St. Louis Ram first when they moved to St. Louis. He was not happy with the move to St. Louis, so the Rams traded him to the Steelers.
Well, the Bus was also a Notre Dame guy. Got to give it up for the Bus.
Number 6.
Yeah. So this week, what do you think the Steelers are going to do on defense to the Browns on offense?
Well, I think number one, I don't know if Minkah Fitzpatrick's playing or not at this point. I don't think he's practiced, so that creates communication issues in the back end, and hopefully they can get those done. But they might have to blitz a little bit more and try to actually keep quarterback in the pocket, because I know he's pretty athletic and can take off and hurt you just like Deshaun. So I think that they're not going to lose a lot in that athletic ability part, but they're going to lose obviously maybe the check downs and not the blitz pickups and the ability to read the fact that either so and so's coming or not coming, that kind of thing. The experience. That linebacker might be filling this time or might be coming this time. He looks like he's coming, but maybe he's not. Those are the experience factors that I think he's going to miss out on. And I think the Steelers like the blitz, so.
Yeah, I think one of the things that the Browns are going to miss is Deshaun Watson's escapability. Like, Deshaun Watson can be in a phone booth with 4 tacklers and still find a way to get out of that situation. So How he does that, I don't know. I don't see the Dorian Thompson Robinson getting out of that stuff. So that's going to be another trick for the Browns offense is to stay on the field and moving. I mean, I think the key, I guess, let's go with keys here real quick. The keys for the Browns offense is going to be move the ball, right? Move the ball, run the ball, keep the chains moving, whether you score or not, simply to keep the Steelers offense off the field. What do you think is the key here for the Steelers defense? If they could do one thing, what do you think they need to do against the Browns offense?
No, absolutely stop the run. I mean, I think, and statistically wise, I'm not on the up and up with, but as far as the offensive line of the Browns, they have a pretty high caliber offensive line. Their team is pretty good, and if they let them run behind Isaiah Ford run behind the offensive line and get rolling, that'll be tough to stop the rest of the offense. So obviously, football 101 really is stop the run, and if the Steelers can stop the run, put them in throwing situations, then I think the Steelers defense will win out on that one.
Okay, so let's switch to the other side of the ball. All right,
Okay.
let's talk about the Browns defense versus the Steelers offense. What do you think is going to happen? Just give me your prediction on what's going to happen in this situation.
Well, I'm hoping, I'll predict that the Steelers offense will make a play or two just enough to win the game late, as they always do. And I do believe because you're starting a rookie quarterback, then the results should be pretty good for the Steelers.
You know, I'm going to get on a little personal anecdote on this. I got in a pick'em league, and every time there's a rookie quarterback starting in a pick'em league, I pick the other team. And the last 2 or 3 times, I've gotten screwed. So I don't know. I mean, like you think conventional wisdom would be they're starting a rookie quarterback, so therefore this team's going to lose. But I don't know if that's like that anymore in the NFL. When you had some people making some plays.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Browns defense. Go ahead.
The Browns defense will make some plays, I'm sure, just because I don't think that the Steelers offense is all that great anyway. So, look, in the last 5 wins or 6 wins, I think most of them have come in the fourth quarter by Kenny Pickett finding somebody to make a play late. And we do get our tight end back this week, so hopefully there'll be a little more plays up the middle instead of trying to throw everything outside on the perimeter. And
so basically, you just need to play more like oh my gosh, I can't think of the guy's name. Lamar Jackson. You need to play more like Lamar Jackson. Just throw the ball over the middle and run the football, and you'll be okay.
Well, we got a new starting running back this week too. Jalen Warren starting instead of Najee, so hopefully that'll give us a little spark as well.
What's going on with Najee Harris?
Well, results.
Okay, so he's getting benched, is what you're saying.
Well, they're a 2 running back system anyway. I won't say they split them statistically wise, but a lot of the times that when it's third and 4 or 5 or longer, Jalen Warren's coming in anyway because he ends up becoming the screen guy. He just right now, I just think he plays harder and running harder, and that's why he got the nod this week. I mean, Najee's going to get half the carries, pretty close to it anyway.
Right, it's just going to be third downs and downs that matter. You're probably going to be looking at the other guy here. What's his name again?
Jalen Warren.
Jalen Warren. Tell me about him. What's his skill? Is he big,
He's
fast?
He's like a bowling ball. He's not very tall. He's probably 5'9", 5'10", but he's got thighs on him about as big as my head. And he just has that balance where if you get him knocked off his feet, he gets his hand down and he stays upright and gets moved an extra 5-6 yards because he's just super athletic in that. And he's stout. He's not tall. He's not going to be your 6'4", 230-pound running back. He's probably 5'9", 210 pounds, 220. But he's like a bowling ball is what it really amounts.
And he's got good vision.
Oh yeah. He's pretty darn good.
So that seems to be the Browns' issue on defense is you get a running back with good vision, and the Browns like to run in out of control and like hit somebody. So hopefully they've gotten some of this stuff under control. I think the Browns' key here is, again, going to be to stop the run and force your quarterback to beat you. You need to force Kenny Pickett to beat you. and I'm liking the chances in this matchup. If the Browns sit there and play some zone, primarily man, as long as you can stay one-on-one with Pickens, George, right? Is that Pickens?
George Pickens, yeah.
Yeah, you stay with George Pickens and you stay with a couple other guys there. Just as long as you can stay on them one-on-one, you'll be okay.
I think if you come out of the huddle and then it's a passing situation or a passing play is called and you got one-on-one coverage with George, I think Kenny's taking that at any time. I think he's been coached that. He's been announced that. I think all Steeler fans know if they come out of the huddle and you see one-on-one coverage, he's taking a shot with Pickens. Whether it's the back shoulder fade or they go, going deep. You start seeing the safety walk over the top where he can top him, then he's going to go somewhere else with it.
Yeah. Throw the ball up, see if you can get a PI. Ravens did that a couple times last week.
He's a freak. Like he just can make catches most people can't.
Right. So if we got two defenses, I think, winning the battles here, which I think is probably an accurate situation, what do you think this game comes down to then?
Well, I mean, ultimately, whoever makes a big play at the end offensively.
I think the other thing you got to make sure is you're not making mistakes. That's been a big thing for the Browns team is to not make these stupid mistakes. I mean, historically, they've made stupid mistakes.
If you have mistakes, big mistakes throughout the game, then it may not even be a game in the fourth quarter. So the assumption for me is that, both teams will make mistakes because their defense is going to force them. But ultimately, who can make the least and then make the play in the fourth quarter? And about 3 or 4 wins, the Steelers have found a way to make a play in the fourth quarter. Every single game this year, the Steelers have been outgained by their opponents. Every single one.
Right.
And I don't know how they're doing it, to be honest with you, but I'm glad they are because it's fun to watch that defense get after the quarterback.
Are you ever concerned that the luck is just going to run out?
Well, I mean, I don't know necessarily that it's luck, to be honest with you.
Come on, man. You're not very fun to rib if you're not going to get into it, man.
the play that we tipped, we were in great position, and the safety came over, waited for the tip. Like everybody's saying nationally, it's a luck play. It's a fluke. Well, I mean, good positioning.
I'll tell you the play that I thought was a great play was when Kenny Pickett threw that ball backward, and the Steelers guy totally missed the backward pass, and the Packer guy picked it up and ran in for a game-winning touchdown, and then they reviewed it and said it was a forward pass.
Yeah,
that was a great play.
Hey, you keep doing those plays, it'd be great. Hey, I guarantee you look back, especially this year, there's plays that didn't go our way too. So
I know. Last week was a pretty big game with referees and officials making crappy calls. I mean, like the Ravens had these officials to the situation where they were going to make penalties against the Browns until the Ravens scored a touchdown. It was ridiculous. It was absolutely insane. And it was ticky-tacky stuff, but it was going to be a first down until they scored that touchdown. That was just what was going to happen. So I anticipate this again, even though it's in Cleveland, that there will be some officiating that'll go the Steelers' way. But you got to beat the refs too. That's part of football.
Hey, we've had to beat the refs a few times too.
Got to beat the refs.
And I bet you, I'm going to make a prediction. Now, you can probably say this about Myles Garrett as well. But TJ Watt's going to get held multiple times in the game, and it won't be called.
Probably. I mean, if you see, it happens to Myles.
You could bank your house on it. You could bank everything that you own on the fact that at least one time TJ Watt's going to get held, and it won't be called.
Oh, yeah, that's like a play-by-play occurrence for Myles Garrett. It's actually gotten a little better this year. They're starting to call some of it, but there are scenes of offensive linemen's forearms around his neck holding Myles Garrett back, and it's like referees looking right at it, not calling a penalty. So,
and then the quarterback throws the touchdown.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous crap that goes on. But
Jordan Love did that twice.
Yeah, the stupid stuff goes on, right? OBJ runs out, pushes over a defender, and then the penalty gets called on the defender. I watched that crap last week. That'll probably happen tonight. OBJ will run out and push somebody over after run out 10 yards and push somebody down. It'll be a penalty on the defender.
I don't ever want to wish injuries on anybody, but if the Ravens could come up with a few more besides Zay Flowers, it'd be great. I don't know. I'm just tired of purple and black.
Well, Speaking of which, let's go to a break, and then on the other side, let's talk about this Bengals at Ravens game that's going to start here in about 20 minutes, maybe half hour. So let's take our break, and then on the other side, we'll chat that up. All right, hang on.
Sounds good. A little shorter.
All right, guys, we're back. Thanks for hanging out and hanging on here. Brad, Bengals at Ravens. What do you like about this game? What do you not like about this game? What are your thoughts?
Well, it's obviously an AFC North rivalry game. All the teams are rivals to each other. The Bengals are playing really well, but it did not hurt my feelings that the Houston Texans beat them, especially late. That was pretty neat, especially when they kind of, blew a lead and they came back and found a way to win it anyway.
The Bengals defense really took a hit this last offseason, and they're really not what they used to be. When you let basically your whole secondary leave, minus one player who had to come back who came back from a serious injury, you're just not going to be putting that out there. They're banking their season on Joe Burrow being able to outscore every other offense in the league while they just kind of stand there and play two-hand tap or something.
Yep.
It's going to be an interesting game because the Ravens, have you watched any of the Ravens games recently?
Not recently.
Okay, so if
I really watched them was when they played the Steelers.
Have you noticed that they have completely abandoned the Todd Monken air raid offense? This is a team right now who's like second or third in rushing in the NFL, and they're 20th in passing. Does that sound like an air raid offense to you?
No. Sounds what Lamar Jackson can do as a passer. Oh, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, no, that's okay. This is a Ravens hate-friendly podcast. So, I've been saying this since week 3. They just pretty much up and abandoned Todd Monken and his ideas and just said, screw it, let's just do what we always do. Let's run the football. And that's all they've done is run the football and throw play-action passes and say, hey, Lamar Jackson, run the football. And that's pretty much it. And it's the Lamar Jackson show. And as soon as he gets hurt, like he has every season for the last 3 seasons, their season's going to be over.
Well, eventually he's going to have to run the football. And then he's going to take enough shots that it's going to wear on him. And it may not happen right away, but eventually it will.
Well, the Browns hit him pretty good 2 or 3 times this past week when he was running. I think the NFL teams, I've contended the NFL teams have kind of changed the way they play defense and have caught up with people like Lamar Jackson and other players that run the football. And that is kind of negated. Defensive linemen anymore run as fast as Lamar Jackson. Of course, Lamar Jackson's thing is he's twitchy. He can stop and turn on a dime and get you going. But so I don't know. I think coming up to this game, I think the Bengals have a chance because Joe Burrow is past the first 4 games of the season that he normally loses, and they're coming back. They're playing offense. I don't think the Ravens defense has enough to stop that Bengals offense. And I think the Bengals defense is going to have a hard time, but I think this is, again, going to be another shootout game.
I can't argue that. I do believe, though, when all said and done, the Ravens defense is still pretty good. So to say it's a shootout, it might be a touch extreme, but the Bengals got a great offense.
Yeah, the Bengals have a good offense.
It's the immovable object versus the whatever the term is. The Ravens, they just punch in them out, and they just keep coming, and eventually they wear you out. But I don't know. I'm going to think about a 28-24 score. I don't know.
To me, that's a shootout for the AFC North. That's a shootout. This is a division of defense, is what this is, right?
I think shootouts end up in the NFL in the 30s or upper 30s. This one's going to be an offensive game, but I don't know if it's a shootout.
Well, I think the Bengals have the better offense. I think the rules are designated to help offenses, and I think that's going to prevail for the Bengals. They've got to really sit down and stop the run, and they have to stop trying to contain rush Lamar Jackson. That first game they played, they just contained rush him. So I'm sure you know what contain rush is, but for people in the audience may not know, a contain rush is when you rush the passer, but really what you're trying to do is stay within your rushing lane and not get overcommitted, not let the pocket find a gap in it, because you went one way too far, then let the quarterback escape. Well, when they did that in the first game, Lamar Jackson was just throwing the ball all over the place because basically over the middle, because at that point the Bengals secondary hadn't gelled. So they're going to have to let people go after Lamar Jackson. This is what the Browns did last week. They just went after him and said, run if you're going to. Let's see it happen. And then you're going to trust your linebackers to chase him down, which the Browns linebackers did because they've been drafting nothing but speed at linebacker for the last 3 years. So I think the blueprint is out there to beat the Ravens. The question is, can they execute?
And honestly, if you and I bring up the Steelers again, the Steelers have the blueprint to beat him. They have 2 edge rushers that come up, so they're not going to get outside of those 2. Mm-hmm. And then they have, the two push D linemen up there to make sure that they don't have the escape route. And then he has to throw it. And hopefully our DBs are better than the Bengals DBs. So if the Bengals want to win, they have to play better.
Yeah, I do like the Bengals tonight, just because I think that offense can out duel, if you will, the Ravens offense against the Bengals defense.
I hope you're right.
Well, I hope so too. Yeah. I'm on the Houday train, even though they stole that from the Saints. I'm still on the Houday train. But
Houdat Saints.
Oh, the Saints had Houdat, and the Bengals before the Houdat had some stupid ass stuff they said. But now, they all got pretty decent one year, and they decided Houday is their thing. I mean, everybody steals from everybody, I guess.
All I remember is the days in the 80s when the Bengals were doing the Ickey Shuffle, and they had the 1 year where they were good. Have you seen Ickey Woods lately?
Oh, yeah, he makes appearances in Cincinnati because, I live closer to Cincinnati than I do Cleveland.
Sure. So I think he honestly could probably play right guard right now.
Yeah, he's got a sandwich shop. He was coaching a professional women's football team. He had all kinds of stuff going on. Had commercials going on for a while. I don't even think his knees will let him do the Ickey Shuffle, to be honest.
Well,
all right, Brad.
It was cool then.
Well, yeah. Then he got penalties in the end zone during the No Fun League era. He had to go to the sidelines to do the Ickey Shuffle. And wow. All right, let's end the show on the Ravens hate. So what fresh new Ravens hate you got for me this week? Since you've been warned last time when you came on that you got to have some Ravens hate.
Well, I really can't fathom the idea that when 2 weeks ago the whole NFL thought the Baltimore Ravens are the best team in the AFC. When they got beat last week, I just loved every second of it because don't anoint them, don't crown them. They're not going to beat anybody that throws the football in January because the Ravens aren't going to be able to play catch up.
Right.
They got to be ahead in the game to win because they're not going to be able to rely on that clown to throw the football consistently.
Which is why they brought in Todd Monken, because they can't win in January and February. Well, they never play in February, but they can't win in January because they can't throw the football. And you bring in a guy designed to give you an offense to throw the football, then they abandon it after week 3.
Can't they figure out who's the common denominator here? Why they can't throw the football?
I mean, they blamed receivers. They've blamed the offensive coordinator. I mean, there's reasons why receivers are begging to get out of that place.
The dude literally won the MVP by running the football, got to the first round of the playoffs, and freaking threw four interceptions. Mm-hmm. He threw more completions to the other team than he did his team.
Well, I mean, have you really looked at the Ravens' schedule this year? I mean, they've played 3 rookie quarterbacks on their first start. They've played teams that have been garbage. I mean, they have not been tested. I mean, they played the Browns when they had when Deshaun Watson had the mystery injury at the time and had Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting with no preparation. They played CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans week 1, which is like a college warm-up game, right? And then you had Anthony Richardson in in Indianapolis. Indianapolis actually was in Baltimore, but the Colts were in Baltimore. And he got hurt during that game, and Gardner Minshew came out and beat him. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think they had the Bengals when Burrow was hurt. They had the Steelers and their quarterback situation, which is still in flux. I don't know what you guys are thinking your quarterback situation is, but it's probably as bad, if not worse, than the Browns situation right now. And now you're in a situation where like the Ravens have to actually play teams that play effectively, and they're just not going to stand up. I'm pretty sure. I mean, you got the stupid Seahawks who beat the Browns in the last second drive, right? But they got Geno Smith out there. I mean, who's Geno Smith?
The only solid win the Ravens have is against the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Detroit. They just like didn't show up in that game.
Yeah.
Like it's like they didn't make the flight to Baltimore. I don't even understand that. I mean, that game was such an anomaly. It was so weird. Like from Detroit's perspective.
Little caveat, our rival, the high school with the district I live in, my son plays for, their rival is called Highland, Illinois, the Highland High School, and that Sam Laporta went there. Then he went to Iowa, and then he got drafted by the Detroit Lions. So
Laporta's the tight end, right?
What's that?
Laporta's the tight end, correct?
Right. Yeah. Okay. He's a rookie. He's setting some certain amount of games and certain amount of rookie tight end catches. You know, they can make up a rookie. This first rookie to do this, first rookie to do that. I'm like, guys, he's a tight end that's catching a bunch of balls. Good. He's not any better than half the tight ends, but I am very happy for the guy because he's one of those small town. The high school's got about 800 kids in it.
Wow.
900 kids. And he played free safety in high school and wide receiver. And they put on about 50 pounds. And just really glad for that family and in that community.
Oh, good. Good feel-good story.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had to throw your Mizzou Tiger in there, right?
Who's that?
Wasn't that Laporta? Where did he go?
He's from Iowa.
Oh, he went to Iowa. I thought you said Missouri.
No.
Now, wait. Wasn't Missouri ranked in the top 10?
They're ninth.
They're ninth.
Wow.
Yeah, good for them. All you do is got to pray for a whole bunch of losses and got to raise that taxpayer money to pay off the people on the committee.
Well, I can tell you this. I had looked at it Sunday night after it came out. Thought if this happens and this happens and this happens, there is a path. But the path is about this wide in certain spots. And it's very hard to get through that path. So,
well, I heard Connor Stallions is looking for a job. So, I mean, maybe you can get him to go scout some people for you.
Well, at this point, I think it's a pipe dream, but I tell you what, it'd be awesome to say that we went there. We were this close in 2013 when we lost to Auburn in the SEC championship, but we didn't decide to play defense the whole game. So,
well, I was about to say, Browns tend to like these Missouri defensive linemen, and I think they're doing pretty well. I mean, I know Jordan Elliott got a lot of crap coming into the season from Browns fans, and I just kept trying to scream from the mountaintops, like, look, Jordan Elliott's going to have a breakout year because he's finally going to be doing in Cleveland what he was doing in Missouri, which is a 4-3 double scat defensive line scheme. Get him back to doing what he knows how to do and watch him flourish, and that's what he's done. He blocked a kick this last week. You
guys had Sheldon Richardson years back, right?
Mm-hmm. Was he a Missouri guy? I wasn't following it.
Yep.
I mean, good defensive lineman, good technical defensive lineman. That's what Jim Schwartz needs in his schemes. These good technical guys. So my version of Ravens hate is let's go Bengals. Go take this team down. If the Bengals can win tonight, that really levels out the entire AFC North. I mean, they're looking at 3 wins. They're looking at 3 losses right now. If they lose to the Bengals, that puts them behind both the Steelers and the Browns going into Sunday's game, which would make that game for the lead of the AFC North. So, Bengals winning tonight's good news for everybody around in the AFC North, except for the Ravens, which we all hate anyway. So,
yeah.
Well, Brad, thanks for joining me on tonight. I appreciate it. Hey, enjoy the game tonight. I mean, let's go Bengals. I'm not going to be time I'm going to say this, but let's go Bengals. And when it comes to Sunday, let's hope the Browns kick your guys' butt.
Well, hopefully you're half right there and half wrong. Hopefully tonight you're right and Sunday you're wrong.
And it'll probably come down to what most NFL games come down to, which is like who has the ball last or who can make the plays at the end of the game to win the football game. Now, those, like you said, this game's probably going to be a shootout, not a shootout, but a bloodbath out there with people just defense, and whatever offense can really break through is going to be the team that's going to win.
Well, you posted earlier on Facebook about the old picture with Chunk. Wasn't it Chunk in Goonies?
Oh, I saw that. I just thought I'd repost it. It was pretty funny.
Like I said, there's no love lost. I mean,
no.
Rudolph's head's banging up against the friggin' turf.
I saw a Christmas ornament that was an automated Myles Garrett hitting Mason Rudolph with a helmet. It was kind of funny. Mason Rudolph is from like South Carolina, close to Charlotte area, right there in that Rock Hill area. Mm-hmm. And I have a lot of friends in that area. And, I kind of follow the Panthers because I do have a lot of friends in that area. And we were kind of arguing about this, and they're all like, oh my gosh, Mason Rudolph, he's from our area, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, dude's a punk. He won't be in the NFL after the contract runs out. But
yeah, I'm surprised he's there right now, to be honest with you.
I mean, he just can't play football. I mean, I probably think he's still a better player than Lamar Jackson in terms of the passing game, but I just don't think he's got what it takes to be an NFL quarterback.
Yeah. 2 years ago, Big Ben got hurt, came in, and it was the game the Detroit Lions and the Steelers tied. And I'm not exaggerating. He was standing on the 10-yard line to throw the football, and he literally threw the ball at the goal line, 3 or 4 yard shot. I mean, it's like, I'm like, you can't throw a freaking ball 10 yards to win a game in the NFL? Get out of here. I was done.
Yeah. So. All right. Well, hey, thanks for coming on, and we'll catch you all next week.
Okay. Talk to you later.
Thank you for listening to the What the Elf Was That podcast. Please like, subscribe, and tell all your friends to give a listen. You can follow host Joel Cade on Twitter @The Left Guard.